So corporate social responsibility is something from the past. I think it was something that that came from our culture of living our life and then doing something good when we went to the church and putting some money and never talked about it. And we took this in our business. So everybody had a business product space, and then they were looking at the market, noticing that people cared what you do in the world, and they said, okay, let's put some money aside and do something good. But we continue to actually, our products, our services, our spaces continue to be the same. We just put this money aside, and this will be corporate social responsibility. And I believe the new generation, they do not buy into that anymore. They expect you to walk the talk. They actually will only look at the product you have, the services, the spaces you are selling, and they expect that to actually be corporate socially responsible. So another idea that grew in the last year was the idea of purpose. So what is actually the company purpose, and going deep into looking into the company values and what you stand for, what your products, services and spaces are about, and actually trying to do that in a way that either does good to the world or at least does its best not to harm the world, the communities and the individual. And this is what now the new generation are asking from us as companies or institutions. So I think that's also a different way to look at it. You can be a company that is born with a purpose, that is born around ideas that are doing good in the world, bringing a social innovation per se, or you can be in a company that exists for long and that, or a company that actually has a different focus. In those companies, it's very important to understand if part of your what you're doing, if it can be done through partnership, through collaboration with social innovators, with using social innovation. So I believe there is nothing, no company in the world, nothing that we do which we cannot improve considering individuals, communities and the planet, and actually bring social innovation to improve either what we do, what we sell, or the way we do business, the way we build what we build, and also how we communicate about that. I think there is a huge space in this in real estate for that, because in the end, to change the world, you need communities, you need people, and communities and people will always meet in spaces, live in spaces, work in spaces, and space. I always think that spaces have souls, and they can do so much. So sometimes in the right context, great things happen. So I believe no matter if you are building for end beneficiaries of apartments, if you are building office space, if you are building public space, if you are building multi-purpose space, I believe there is so much that you can do thinking at the end game. So what you are offering, what this space will stand for, what will people talk about when they come or live in their space or work in their space, but you can also do a lot in the how you do it, in the process, and this is also, I think, overlooked. A lot of people just look at the end, you know, and they don't look at how much you are actually a real estate construction industry has a big impact on the environment, on the society, and so on in the process. Yeah? So I think a lot can be done there. And what I think changed this was forever so, but what changed in the last year is that now your end beneficiary care. Yeah, and very soon, not just that they care, but they will demand you to think like that. Because in the end, it is about people. People change the world. People give, people have the ideas. They give soul to the spaces. It's in the end, all the good things in the world, you can track them down to people. People who had the idea, people who believe in it, people who put the money, people. So, and it's very important that we believe in ourselves and we look deep down into ourselves and think of who we stand for. And the best exercise is, if you have kids, to think about how your kids see you and how you become a role model for them. And for that, you have to be authentic. You have to be real. The kids will not do what you're saying. They will do what you do. They will follow your role model. So it's very important, and it's very important to believe that we can be our best self, and look into us, because the word, I think, for too long in schools and in society kind of polarized and separated, and you are either doing good or you are you have to hide what you do because it's you are just making money, and or you are left or right, or you are creative or you are an athlete. And I think that's not the reality of human nature. Just the society made it like that. And I think as long as you believe in yourself, that you have a role and that you can do something, no matter where you are, you can actually do something good. It's super important. So the story behind it's everything, and this is the first thing that you learn at Red Bull. What is the story? So everything, you might see a picture, and everybody might take something a bit different because it's a story that is relevant to them. But everybody will take a story from a picture. So story is super important. We at Red Bull, we never did any event. We never did anything before trying to say what's the story here, and was this story authentic, was this story able to actually generate traction, will people talk about it? And the test is that not that you can tell the story about the product or service or initiative that you have. The test is, can somebody else tell your story? So can a kid tell your story? Can somebody who has nothing to do with your product, can they tell the story? And this is a good story when somebody else can actually say it. And of course it will be every time a bit different, but in the end, stories is what guide our life. And this was just even before Instagram being our life. Stories were equally important, but even more so. We all just tell stories with how we dress, with what choices we make, with where we work, where we live, and so on. We create stories and we tell stories. I think this is just another channel, another tool. Of course, Facebook contributed to democratize communication, so that small companies, social enterprises, projects can actually make their point. Friday for Future, a lot of people were actually knowing where to go, checking Facebook. So it is very important, but I believe it's just the channel. We'll always have tools that we use, and the social innovator will know how to use and create something in the new environment. Yes, it did. Indeed, Facebook and Instagram provided tools also for young entrepreneurs and small companies to put their message, their story out there.